Yeah, this is Jgsf1987 for actually one last piece of for tonight. Anyway, like I said, my previous video was just to describe the historic nature of it, and that this has been something that a lot of women have been pushing for the past, I would say, at least 50 years or so. So the point of this video is actually to go over some of my own personal thoughts and to also share a lot of my concerns, actually. And if you share any of these concerns, go ahead and leave me a comment. Go anywhere. And by the way, you know me, I'm a writer and blogger, and if you want to see more of more of my thoughts and more of my posts, go to my blog, Jgsf1987.com. Anyhow, so back to the video. Right. So yeah, speech was not really all that inspiring. At least for me, it wasn't all that inspiring. So she didn't really do a good job that way. Me personally, I have a lot of reservations about voting for her personally because she, in my eyes, did not get it honestly, and I think that right now there's a big cloud that's hanging over the Democratic National Committee, and one that's going to hang over them pretty much until November. This is why I'm voting for Jill Stein, and if you're a progressive, I would suggest you do that too. Or I would highly recommend that you do, but you vote however you vote. But as I've said before, just vote your conscience. So, where do we go from here? Well, again, like I said, going to Jill Stein and propping up the Green Party, and basically and I would not recommend voting for Hillary unless you really want to, or for that matter, if you don't have really that many other options. I mean, yeah, you could always vote for Trump. I mean, but you gotta understand one thing. Trump's an idiot. So, and yeah, a lot of what he's saying is like borderline off the wall. But again, I'm sure many of you understand, and I know a lot of progressives. This is not lost on us progressives either, but especially if you're a progressive, you know. I mean, all the things that's coming out of Donald Trump's mouth is just Trump being Trump. Now, like I saw something earlier today from no, actually, I think it was yesterday that the Daily Beast was basically calling him a traitor and such. Sorry. Getting back. Yeah. So they were basically calling him a traitor. Oh, and he made a bunch of tweets, saying, basically along the lines of, crooked Hillary, and about how the DNC is just basically running a con job. Then again, he's wanted to talk because he's also running a con job, but that I'll get to a little bit later. Anyhow, yeah, so pretty much, my eyes, Hillary looked like she was begging. I'm sorry, but I have too much self-respect never to give at least when I am making a choice of this kind of magnitude, I don't give it to somebody who's going to beg for it, or somebody who's just going to promise me everything in the moon, and then, I don't know, once they get into office, basically say, oh, I have to deal with him and his worries. Yeah, I got better things to worry about. I got bigger things to worry about rather than what some individual guy has. That's my biggest worry. But then again, I don't know. Hillary Clinton may not be such a bad president. I really don't know. Does she have over 4 decades worth of experience for, public service? Yeah, she does. So yeah, she does have a few really, really decent accomplishments, but not. But in terms of legislating, she wasn't really all that effective. Like she passed maybe three or she maybe got through three or so bills with not much significance. I mean, well, one of them actually was actually kind of significant. It was for the people. It was for New York on 9/11. That was one thing that she got through. The another thing that she actually didn't actually get through was health insurance for kids. Well, yeah, she's that kind of thing she's been doing for a very long time. So I mean, you can easily look that up and look at Hillary's long career of public service. So I'm gonna pretty much leave it at that. However, but yeah, my biggest concern also is that I know there's that ongoing thing from WikiLeaks, which is basically proving that this whole thing was a carefully crafted charade, and I'm not lost on any of this. I know offhand they're just pandering at this point because they understand, because they're panicking. They're panicking now because it's like, okay, now that we got her nominated, let's hope we get her. And I know why they're panicking. I think you know why they're panicking. I don't think it's a secret. I think it's primarily because they understand now that the joke that they thought was Donald Trump is now within our nose here of basically getting elected president, and they got to come up with a big plan B, and they got to do it fast. So there's that. Let me think. What else is there? Right. There's still a few other ongoing investigations that are going on there. So yeah, there's still I think like an FBI investigation open. I think that has to do either with the Clinton Foundation or whatever it's from. I have to watch one of H.A. Goodman's videos or something to at least remind myself what it is. But yeah, I know it has to not only deal with the Clinton Foundation. I think it also has something else to do with Oh no, actually, I don't think this one has anything to do with Hillary's emails. I think this one has to do with the Clinton Foundation, and it may include some of Hillary's emails, but it's not for the intelligence side of it. At least I don't think it is. That I'm pretty sure James Comey came. Yeah, that I remember James Comey came out a few weeks ago saying like, yeah, we're not going to prosecute her over that. So there's that. Yeah, there's a new IRS probe going on into the Clinton Foundation. There's going to be and basically the Republicans are going to keep going on and on about like Benghazi, this and that, whatever about her. And so understand one thing: on day one, they're going to try to impeach her. And that's not going to go over very well. Not with the American public. Well, then again, I don't know because she doesn't really have Bill's savviness. So that's one of the things that's actually hurting her. Not that I trust Bill either. I mean, no, I know. Look, those two, they're not stupid. They're actually pretty smart people. But there's an old saying that says that someone is smart, but for the wrong reasons. And that's pretty much the Clintons for everybody. So yeah, there's that. There's one other thing though that I am gonna say very succinctly is that, look, I don't think that Hillary Clinton is going to be able to make it through there because of the because of all these other things that are hanging over her. Plus, the fact that she's gotten backing from Wall Street. One of the things I'm also, also with the plus all this all these corporations and big names, backing her up. No, I mean some of them are not that bad, but other ones it's like, like big companies, like big banks, big pharma, big insurance, this, that, whatever. Right, so all of them. There's also the fact that, and I'm incredibly worried about this, and this is something that actually worries me quite a bit, actually, is that even though I know that she's trying to push this ambitious, and I mean really ambitious, at least by democratic standards, it's pretty ambitious, but in terms of what we need, it's not going to go far. I personally don't think it's going to go far enough, but whatever, I'll get into that in another video. Anyhow, so yeah, there's that going on. There's also the fact that, again, like I said earlier, there's the whole thing with the Republicans, meaning that if the FBI doesn't nail her by the time she gets into office, they're going to try to go after her, blah, blah, blah. There's that. But what really, really has me, like, god-awfully, like, worried is that, look, I know I told you I'm a history major, or I graduated with a BA in history, and so I'm not going to go through about the fact that, since I'm such an expert that I know this is going to, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's actually not my point. My point is actually because again, my core area of focus when I was getting my history degree was actually in Euro international history, but especially but mostly it had to do with like Russian history. When not just American history, but doing it also from Russia itself. You got to understand one thing, and I know I've said this either on Facebook or on Twitter. No, actually, I think I said it on Facebook. Anyhow, the biggest problem is that a Clinton administration will try to put a no-fly zone in Syria. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, how does this affect us? It affects us in the sense that guess who is going to feel real threatened and really try to retaliate against that, especially if we try to do that. That's inviting a war with the Russians, especially when they have about 500 more nukes than we do. So that's a big thing to be worried about, is that. And besides the fact that Hillary, in my eyes, is a little... And the other thing that I'm also saying, though, with Hillary's ambitious, like I said, with ambitious program, one thing I will say, though, is that a lot of the trying to keep it in the $1 or $2 trillion area whenever by trying to put Americans back to work that way, that's nowhere near the amount that we need to be spending just in terms of getting things to where we need them. And And I know Hillary's saying that she'll champion like getting the biggest banks and biggest corporations as well as the wealthiest people to start paying their fair share of taxes. That I'm a little leery about, because even though I know she knows a lot of these people, I think she also knows that I think a lot of people kind of are beginning to understand the fact that even if she knows all of them and she knows how to wine and dine all of them and whatever, the fact is that is that if she tries to push any of that, it's gonna get nowhere, because they're not gonna let her do it. Or I'm pretty sure she's just gonna talk a great storm and then pretty much do nothing about it. And Donald Trump is just basically gonna make a mess of things. But here, so let me sum it up by saying this: Hillary Clinton is trying to lay out the stuff that we need and what we need to be doing. That's a 100% confirmable fact. From the nudging she's gotten from Bernie Sanders. But whether this goes, but the amount that she's trying to go after it with, I think is a little too small, and that they need them. And that it needs to be a lot bigger, and we have to go a lot bolder. But also, we have to, in order to engage with the Russians, look, here's what I think. You sit down and you talk with Vladimir Putin. You try to find some common ground with him, and you basically ask him, okay, well, what do you think is going to be the most feasible about trying to keep or what can we do to try to help to either contain ISIS, or in some cases trying to work together to train, to bring all the sides over to the negotiating table in order to get a political settlement in Syria. That's what I would personally try to do, or what I personally think needs to be done. But to just simply throw a fly zone in Syria is basically asking for a war with the Russians. And that's a really, 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 really dumb thing to do. So, anyway, so keep that in mind. And again, there's all those other investigations that are still hanging over her, and look, and there's also the DNC leaks that are just continually coming out, and as they come out and out and out and out and out, oh boy, it's going to turn down a lot of the support that the Democrats really need. But you also got to understand something. This is something they brought on themselves, and no matter how much they try to spin it as, oh, this is the fault of Vladimir Putin, this is he's been conspiring with the Republicans over this, blah blah blah. He's so evil and he needs to be deposed of. That as soon as or as soon as Hillary gets into office, we need to declare war and annihilate them with nukes and blah, blah, blah. Look, they're saying that to distract from the fact that they got caught with their pants down. I mean, I'm sorry for that reference, but that's pretty much where we're at. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Republicans, I mean, no, the Democrats, because they decided to go this route, they're going to lose. I mean, it's just that, it's pretty much that they're that tone deaf is another way of putting it. So anyway, yeah. So think about it. The fact is that as we, head towards the election, they're going to get more and more panicked because it's not hitting the same. It's not basically having the desired results that they want. Anyway, so I will, I'll cut it here, and I'm going to say that this is Jgsf1987, and I am out of here.